you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that? No,
it's not the Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christoforou and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier. That turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. It's I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements, we've had a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people. Yeah, go ahead.
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, July the 17th, coming to you from Moscow. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with Trump and his latest post on Truth Social. And boy, was this one a doozy. This post on Truth Social, this one was bad. He should not have posted this. Whoever is running the White House social media account for the US president, I know that Trump is posting these things on his own, but perhaps they should get someone in the White House to maybe just double check these Truth Social posts before they are published. So Epstein, once again, he is talking about the no client list Epstein scandal or cover up, whatever you want to call it. And Trump, he lashed out at his supporters. That's right. He is now going after the very people that helped him get elected. He called his supporters weaklings. He actually used that word. He said that his supporters are weaklings. They're buying into the Democrat hoax of the Epstein client list. He is saying that it is the same hoax that the Democrats used when they were pushing Russiagate. He continues to believe that this is a good narrative to associate Epstein to Russiagate. He thinks this is a winner, that he's going to be able to fool people into believing that the no client list cover-up is the same thing or equivalent to the Russiagate hoax. It's not, and he needs to stop because this is not working. People are not associating Epstein to Russiagate, and they're not buying into the narrative that this is all some kind of Democrat Party, Obama, Hillary, Biden, Comey, Brennan master plan. No, it's not working. But he still goes with it. And he actually said towards the end of his Truth Social post that he doesn't even want the support of these people anymore that are actually calling for the release of the client list. He says he does not want their support. doesn't want them, doesn't need them. They are weaklings for buying into the whole Epstein narrative, and he's done with them. That was his post, man. There was another long post, but wow, I can't believe he went there. Towards the end of his post on Truth Social, he says, "Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again." Someone posted on X. I posted this Truth Social post. I posted this on X, and I said, "We went from Epstein client list is on my desk to there is no client list, to the Epstein files were written by Obama, Hillary Comey, and the Biden administration, to whatever she thinks is credible she should release, to my past supporters are weaklings who believe the Democrat Epstein scam, and I don't want their support anymore." That has been the progression of this Epstein no client list scandal. And to my post, someone replied by saying that Trump is one step away from calling his supporters a basket of deplorables. That is so freaking true. Let me find the comment, because it was a good one, and I want to give this person credit. Nick D at Penny Winky. He said, "Someone said soon he will be calling his own supporters deplorables." That is so spot on. That's coming in a week. Next week, he is going to call his supporters deplorables. Whoever is calling for the release of the Epstein documents and the client list, which doesn't exist, according to Trump and Bondi, he's going to call them deplorables. What an incredible post from Trump. What a terrible post from Trump, man. Who is managing White House social media? Anyway, we have another post, another article related to Trump and Epstein, and this is coming from John Solomon with Just the News, who, from what I understand, interviewed Trump and said that he would support Pam Bondi appointing a special prosecutor to investigate the deep state, which would include the Jeffrey Epstein case. Maybe it will include the Jeffrey Epstein case. Investigate the deep state, whatever that means. And maybe, just maybe, we will include Epstein. It just goes from bad to worse. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell now. Ghislaine Maxwell says that she is ready to testify. She is ready to testify and tell all about Epstein. That is what Ghislaine Maxwell is saying, according to Zero Hedge. Ghislaine ready to testify as Trump triples down, slams weakling past supporters who believe Epstein hoax, while President Trump continues to insist that the Epstein list of elites who partook in Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking ring is nothing more than a Democrat hoax. Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell is ready to spill the beans. From what I read, no member of Congress has actually requested Ghislaine Maxwell testify. Isn't that interesting? No one wants to hear from her. And at this moment, she is the only person who has been put in prison over this Epstein list. No one else has been arrested. Not that we know who else is involved, right? Because we don't have any information, any documents, any client list, any blackmail list. Nothing has been provided. Only Ghislaine Maxwell so far has gone to prison over Epstein shows. So she's the only person that can testify to Congress and perhaps provide some more insight into what is going on. Of course, if she were to go to Congress, what I would imagine she would say is, "What list? What list are you talking about? Now let me out of prison." I imagine that would be what Ghislaine would tell members of Congress if she were to testify. So Moren Comey, the daughter of James Comey, who was definitely involved in what was going on with Diddy. We don't talk about that anymore, do we? The whole Diddy trial. And she was also involved in the Epstein case, if I'm not mistaken, right? The daughter of James Comey. She was fired. Yeah. She was fired from her job as federal prosecutor. Isn't that interesting? So are they trying to cover up something? Is the Trump administration, is Pam Bondi trying to cover up something by firing her? Or is the Trump administration trying to go after Comey, trying to stick it to Comey? Or is the Trump administration, Pam Bondi, trying to tell the America First supporters that are very upset about what's going on with Epstein? Here you go. I've actually taken action and I've fired Moren Comey. So let's just forget about Epstein. Someone's been fired. Let's move on. What is going on here with this firing of Comey's daughter? Don't talk that much about Diddy anymore, do we? No, we do not. But don't worry, everybody. Don't worry about what is going on with the Trump administration, with President Trump, because he is going to figure things out at Coca-Cola. That's right. Forget about the client list. We got more important things to deal with, like Coca-Cola and sugar. Trump posted, "I have been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar and Coke in the United States, and they have agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all of those in authority at Coca-Cola. This will be a very good move by them. You'll see. It's just better." Well, thank God we got that sorted out. Oh, because I've been thinking for a few years now, if only we could find someone in the United States to step up, someone to become president who can handle the whole Coca-Cola sugar scandal. That's what's been keeping me up at night. And Trump has delivered. This is what winning is all about. This is how you win. You deal with sugar cane and Coca-Cola, right? Oh man, I'm telling you, that post on Truth Social, where he says he doesn't need his supporters anymore and they're weaklings. If someone showed me that post on Truth Social and they redacted Trump's name, his handle, and they just showed me the text of that post and they didn't say anything else, and I had no real context as to what was going on with the whole no client list Epstein scandal, I would think it was written by a 10-year-old girl. That's what I would think if I read that post. I can't believe that this is the president of the United States, a 78, 79-year-old grown man, a billionaire real estate business mogul who was a reality TV star, who is president of the United States for the second time, decided that this was a good post to make. Okay, let's move on let's move on and talk about the Trump Rutte NATO scheme or scam. Scheme, not a scam. It's a scheme. It's a scheme. And we now have Italy dropping out of this NATO scheme. Italy is saying that they have no money to purchase weapons from the United States and send them to Project Ukraine, which confirms the Duran's reporting and the reporting that I have made on this channel, and Alexander's reporting about this entire scheme that NATO and Rutte and Zelensky and allegedly Moren and Starmer put together, which was that NATO would purchase weapons from the United States, $10 billion worth of weapons from the United States, and those weapons would then get delivered to Project Ukraine. And Trump doesn't break any of his campaign promises to his base. Not that he cares about his base anymore. He doesn't need their support. But he's not giving weapons to Project Ukraine. He is selling weapons to NATO, who will then give those weapons to Project Ukraine, and those weapons could arrive to the Zelensky regime with NATO's support and backing and purchasing. But NATO doesn't do that. You see, NATO is not in the business. The alliance is not in the business. Let's go across the street of purchasing weapons from another NATO member. The individual NATO countries, they have to purchase the weapons. And we now have Italy coming out and saying, no money, and we just cannot purchase weapons from the United States. So that means that we have Italy opting out of this scheme. We have Hungary opting out of this scheme. We have Czech Republic opting out of this scheme. And we also have France opting out of this scheme. And pretty soon, Spain will join them. Absolutely. Spain is going to come out and say, yeah, we don't have the budget to purchase weapons to give to Project Ukraine. And so that pretty much leaves two big players in Europe, in the European NATO, and that is the UK, which has no money, so the UK is not going to be able to do this, and Germany. And it is going to be Germany that is going to be picking up the tab of $10 billion to... Where am I? Oh no, I ended up on the wrong side. I want to go that way. McFly. Well, we can see the build. Actually, since we are here, we might as well take a look at the amazing architecture. So yeah, Germany is going to pay for all of this. At least that is what Merz appears to have told Trump. But you know what's interesting about the Germany paying for the weapons, buying the weapons from the United States and then sending them to Project Ukraine? It's that Germany is flip-flopping a whole bunch on having to pick up the tab for all of this, even though Merz appears to support this. It does look like Germany and his coalition partner, the SPD, is not so hot on this idea. Actually, Trump said that patriots from Germany are now on the way to Project Ukraine. And then we get this statement that Germany denies Trump's statement on Patriot supplies to Ukraine. So they are denying what Trump is saying. I think this is wrong. So let's go back up and figure out how to make it to the other side, as the Red Hot Chili Peppers once sang. Take me to the other side. How do I get to the other side? Let's see here. So yeah, Patriots are on the way, Trump said. I believe three or five complete Patriot systems. We're on the way to Zelensky. Here we go. You see? This is the way. And we're getting denials from Germany that no such thing has happened. You know, interesting side story to this whole NATO purchase weapons from Ukraine debacle is that we are getting reports that the NATO member states, when Trump was sitting with Rutte, when Rutte was sitting with his daddy, his daddy in the White House, and they were announcing this brilliant scheme that the NATO member states, the individual NATO member states, had no idea as to what was going on, which I find very hard to believe. I find very hard to believe we knew what was going to be announced days and weeks ahead of time. But now the NATO member states are saying they had no idea that Trump and Rutte were going to announce this scheme to purchase weapons and send those weapons to Project Ukraine. But that's what they're saying, that Trump blindsided them. They're kind of throwing Trump under the bus, huh? That's how it seems. Anyway, Zelensky is asking for tomahawks. He wants tomahawks. That's right. He's not specifically saying, give me tomahawks, but he gave an interview to Newsmax. And in this interview, Zelensky said that the Biden administration, that he presented a victory package. Remember Zelensky's victory plan? His victory plan? He presented it to the Biden administration, and in his victory plan, he had long-range missiles and tomahawks. He had tomahawks missiles going to Ukraine, and he presented this to the Biden administration, and the Biden administration immediately turned down the request for tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Even the Biden administration immediately said no. But Zelensky is now basically telling the Trump administration that we need to resurrect what he was asking from his victory plan that he presented to Biden. The famous Red Gate, the Red Gate, Krasny Varota. Let's see, Zelensky urges Trump to revisit Ukrainian missile proposal. Kiev's original request to host nuclear-capable long-range tomahawks was rejected under the Biden administration. Zelensky said, and I quote, "I remember that we had a powerful deterrence package before President Trump became president. I wanted America to sell us such a package, but it was not done," Zelensky said. And now he wants Trump to reconsider this package. By the way, did you see the news about Colombia? That Colombian President Petro has stated that he wants his country to abandon its global partnership with NATO. Yeah, that's what he said in a statement. He said that this has to do with the fact that NATO member states are supporting the genocide in Gaza. That is what President Petro said, and now he wants to pull Colombia out of this type of partnership agreement that they have with NATO. So yesterday we had a big drone strike from Ukraine into Russia, into the Russian Federation, including some drones heading towards Moscow, and I believe also St. Petersburg, Kursk, Bryansk, I believe Voronezh. About 122 drones were launched towards Moscow, towards 11 regions. And Vnukovo Airport in Moscow actually had a couple of hours delay because of the drones. But the Russian Ministry of Defense, they said that all the drones were knocked down, and I don't believe there are any casualties from this big drone strike into Russia. Once again, 122 Ukrainian drones target 11 Russian regions, airports disrupted. So Euroclear, the place where the Russian frozen assets are being held, the stolen Russian frozen assets are being held, the frozen, did I say stolen? I meant frozen. The frozen, seize, not freeze, according to Vandermath. Euroclear is sending out a warning to Vandermath and to the European Union. Do not dare touch the Russian frozen assets. Euroclear said in a statement that the scheme that Europe is now talking about, which is to take the Russian frozen assets and move those assets to some sort of fund or some sort of vehicle that will give them a higher interest rate, a higher return on the 202 or 250 billion. Euroclear is saying, don't you dare do this. Of course, you're talking about a much riskier vehicle, which would give Europe more return, more interest on those Russian frozen assets, so then they can take the interest and give it over to the Green Goblin. Euroclear saying, if you do this, we are going to see a financial meltdown in Europe. EU plan to move frozen Russian money would be expropriation, according to Euroclear. The scheme would violate international law and trigger legal and market risks, the depository CEO has said. Well, you know my thinking on this. I think that Europe should take those 250 billion that they've stolen and they should invest it in a meme coin. That's my thinking on this. There's a lot of meme coins, not financial advice. There are a lot of meme coins. Yeah, they're very risky, but you might get a 10,000x return. That's a lot of interest. That's a lot of profit. You could hand over to the Green Goblin, and 10% for the big guy, of course. So I don't know, maybe take that 250 billion, invest it in one of those 1000x meme coins, and who knows? Who knows, Ursula? Ursula, do you know what 1000x means? Do you know what that means in interest, in profit, in return, Ursula Vandermath? That's 1000x or maybe 10,000x. And if you invest in the right meme coin, who knows? Maybe 10,000x. I don't know. Maybe in the comments down below, maybe we have some suggestions as to what meme coin Ursula Vandermath should consider moving the Russian frozen assets from Euroclear into. I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. Anyway, that's Euroclear. And let's get serious now. Let's talk about a serious topic, which is unfortunately the situation in Syria, which is going from bad to worse. Yesterday, Israel launched airstrikes into Syria. They actually launched airstrikes into Damascus, and Israel claims that they were launching these airstrikes in order to protect the Druze population, which is fighting with al-Jawlani and some other HTS militias in the area of the Suwadi city in southern Syria. And so Israel, they claim to be the protectors of the Druze, and they're the protectors of the Kurds, something that Erdogan does not like. But they launched airstrikes in order to protect the Druze. This is what they're saying. This is what the Israeli military is saying. And it appears to have worked. It looks like the Druze are now in control of Suwadi city. And I think this is a lot of smoke and mirrors, if you ask me. I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and deception going on. I don't think al-Jawlani is really in conflict with Israel. I don't think Erdogan is in conflict with Israel. I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and deception. And eventually what we are going to see is some sort of deal between Erdogan and Netanyahu, where they will divide up Syria into spheres of influence. Erdogan, along with al-Jilani, will have certain parts in certain areas. Israel will have their parts in their areas, which will include the areas where the Druze are, and that's where all of this is heading towards. I think going after al-Jilani was also a way to provide some cover for Bizarro Zelensky, because al-Jilani has been getting some criticism from various militias, saying that he is cozying up too much to Israel. He's giving away too much to Israel, and perhaps this strike was a way to provide some space for al-Jilani, so that al-Jilani can tell his critics, you see, they're going after me, so I'm really not so buddy-buddy with Israel. So I think there's a lot of deception going on here. And if I had to take a guess, and it's just a guess, I would say that this deception is being coordinated. Perhaps it's being coordinated by Erdogan and Netanyahu. I don't know. That's just a guess. But anyway, that's what's going on there. We also have the news that is coming out of the Times of Israel, which says Netanyahu trial adjourned amid strikes on Syria. Prime Minister Netanyahu's testimony in his criminal trial in the Tel Aviv District Court ends early due to the developments in Syria and IDF strikes in that country aimed at defending its Druze community. So another reason why this strike happened. It always comes back around to a court case, doesn't it? At least that's how it appears. So let's talk about some other news, and then we'll get to our clown world. Iceland is going to be hosting Ursula von der Leyen. That's right. She will be in Iceland, or maybe she already is in Iceland, and they are going to be talking about Iceland's accession into the European Union. Don't do it, Iceland. Please don't do it. I think Iceland is in NATO, and I think they are in Schengen as well. They had a referendum back in 2000. Let me try to remember. Back in 2013, I believe, to enter the EU, and it didn't pass. And I still think that the population of Iceland, if they had another referendum, would still vote against joining the European Union, but it's close. It's at about 45 or 46% for joining the European Union. Hey, we got our first Moscow cat. Hey, what's up, my friend? Our first cat here in Moscow, who just enters the building, right? Just strolls right into the building. Anyway, yeah, so now Ursula is going to be in Iceland, and it looks like we're going to get another push for another referendum, most likely in 2027. Don't do it, Iceland. Don't do it. Speaking of the European Union and exiting the European Union, and perhaps re-entering the European Union, we have this article from Politico. Brexit reset talks take first step forward since summit. Brussels sets out negotiating plans on two major policy areas. So the reversal of Brexit is going ahead, full speed ahead. The two policy areas where the UK and the EU are now working on, where they're coordinating, is agriculture and I believe carbon emissions. So they're going to align their policies on agriculture and carbon emissions. And the EU is going to be doing whatever the European Union tells them to do on agriculture and carbon emissions. This is according to Politico. While London would have no right to participate in the Union's decision-making of those rules, the EU would consult the United Kingdom at an early stage of policy-making so it could give its input. The UK would have to apply new EU rules within a set deadline or face legal action under the agreement. Well, it's nice of the European Union to at least consult the EU on agriculture and carbon policy, right? They'll consult the UK, sorry. It's nice that the EU will at least consult the UK on agriculture and carbon emissions. They'll consult the UK, but at the end of the day, the EU is going to make the decisions according to this article, and the UK is going to adopt whatever decisions the EU comes up with. Right? Oh boy. It's even worse than being in the European Union. At least in the European Union, you had a say, you had a vote, you had a veto. Now the UK is going to be in the European Union without a vote. So let's do some clown worlds, and we could wrap up this video. Actually, before we get into the clown world, how about this post on X from Viktor Orban? First, we urgently need a ceasefire and peace. Then we must define Ukraine, its borders, its population. As of right now, we do not even know what or where Ukraine is. Finally, once peace and clarity has been restored, we can make lasting agreements with Russia and lay the foundations for a strategic partnership with Ukraine, one that protects our sovereignty while securing Europe's future. This is what we must achieve. Yeah, that's a good statement from Orban, but it's not going to happen. He's right, but no one's going to listen to him. Not even US President Trump is listening to Orban. Trump is fully under the spell of Lindsey Graham. He is under the spell of Lindsey Graham. and the Zelensky curse. Boy, the Zelensky curse is wreaking havoc on the Trump White House, isn't it? Should have never hugged him. Did he hug him? Well, you should have never shaken his hand. You should have never sat down next to him in the Oval Office for an extended period of time. I think that's what got the Zelensky curse onto Trump. Sitting down in the White House with the Green Goblin over an extended period of time, that got him. That got him. Anyway, back to clown world. How about this article from Politico? This is an amazing title. Starmer and Merz find their happy place. War. That's the title from Politico. Starmer and Merz find their happy place. War. Germany's leader will use a London visit Thursday to finalize a wide-ranging pact that goes big on security cooperation. Yeah, so Merz is going to be meeting with Starmer, and they found their happy place together. They're in a happy place, Merz and Starmer. And that happy place is defined by war, according to Politico. Incredible, huh? That's Starmer and Merz. And I think I have one more clown world. And this is courtesy of Chris Cuomo at News. What is the channel? Is it Newsmax or is it News Nation? I think it's News Nation, where Chris Cuomo is, and he was interviewing Mr. Rapaort, the actor Rapaort, who said, pro-Israeli activist Michael Rapaort, who said that in Gaza there should be casinos, there should be strip clubs, there should be Chick-fil-A's, Rapaort says. It never ever is going to happen because of Hamas. Right. That's what should be in Gaza. Strip clubs, according to Rapaort. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what we are wearing, like what I am wearing, what I am wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. Take care.